Hi, everyone. I want to take a minute to introduce you to our library. So you can log into our library by going to asutr.edu, finding the library link on that page, and then clicking and going in. You can also access it through your portal, though, and that's what I'm doing since I'm already logged into my portal. Then I should already be logged into the library. So I'm just going to scroll down and then find the library button and click it. And here we are at the ASUTR library. So I know this says research, and this is like if you want to do some, I don't know, maybe some basic research to see if there are any topics or books available at our library that you're interested in. What you'll need primarily for this class are the databases A to Z. We do have a great collection of databases. So one that I like, and you can see here, it's listed as a popular database, is ProQuest Central. So I'm going to click that. It's asking for a student ID. I don't have my ID with me, so I can't put that in to show you, but you put your student ID number in, and that's actually the number from your ID card, and then click login, and it will take you right in. Another one that I really like is JSTOR. And JSTOR has, you can see this doesn't show that I'm accessing through the ASUTR library. You can, if you have problems accessing JSTOR, you can set up a free account on JSTOR, and you have limited amounts of information that you can save. But if you're just working on a project or two, that's usually enough to get you through. So I wanted to show you JSTOR. I'm going to pick a topic here and just kind of search it to show you what you might find on JSTOR. Let's say I want to give an informative speech about TV sitcoms. Because if you've learned nothing about me this semester, it should be that I like weird old TV. So here we go. Sitcoms. Here's a journal article about sitcoms. Sitcoms in the 80s specifically. Sitcoms and single moms. The sitcom in general. Gender differences in the influence of television on gender ideology, TV hours and attitudes toward employed mothers from 1988 to 2008. Now I'm really kind of thinking that I want to do some research about TV sitcoms. Anyway, there are a lot of things here. You can see it says download site, save. You can read online. Let me see if it will allow me to read online since I'm not logged in. Okay, this is a preview. So I would need to log in. You see here alternate access options. So you could read 100 articles per month online for free. That's probably more than you would ever need. So you could always do that on your own if you weren't even going through our library. But if you're on campus using one of our computers, you're not even going to have to log into the library. I'm recording this from home, so I'm not automatically logged in. So that's something that I wanted to point out to you as well. One of the things that is a great source for your persuasive speech that you'll do this semester is called Issues and Controversies. Here it is. This is a really great resource because it gives you pros and cons. So if you give your persuasive speech and don't include the other side to your argument, you've got a really weak speech. Because in persuasion, you have to show that not only do you really believe what you're saying, but that you can really prove it. And part of that really proving it is knowing what the opposition says about you and kind of heading it off before it ever, gets a chance to settle in. So by knowing the pros and cons of an issue, then that helps you develop a stronger persuasive speech. So like here, nuclear disarmament. The question that fuels this article is, should the US pursue global nuclear disarmament? Here we have supporters argue, and we have opponents argue. So we can go through here and we can read. Here's just basic information about nuclear disarmament. Here's some information about World War II. Also, nice graphic that helps you visualize some things. And then here's the overview of the spread of the atomic bomb. Another graph, yet another graph, which is really cool for those of us who like visuals. This, oh my goodness. I think it's fun that we thought that putting kids under a desk would save them from a nuclear bomb. You know, kind of the same thing we do for tornado drills or used to. Um, there's a lot of information here. Let me scroll down to the very bottom. Sorry for those of you like me who get motion sickness easily. Okay. Discussion questions. So it's going to ask you these questions that help you develop your argument better. Do you think the US should pursue global nuclear disarmament, including dismantling its own arsenal? Why or why not? How has the war in Ukraine changed the debate over nuclear disarmament? That's a good question too. Do you believe in the deterrence theory? Did massive nuclear arsenals of the US and Soviet Union prevent direct conflict between the two powers during the Cold War? And do you think that's still important today? So these are all questions that can help you guide your research. I want to go back to another issue here. Let's go look at income inequality. So in terms of income inequality, let's go with this one just because I really like the picture with it. It looks like Fozzie Bear. And that does not look like Miss Piggy. Okay, let's click on it to see what it says. And you can see here that I'm accessing issues and controversies through my login because it says access provided by Arkansas State University through Rivers. So you notice that it didn't say that on JSTOR when we were there. Okay, so here again, supporters argue, opponents argue. So we have the pros and we have the cons. And we have primary sources that you can click here to see. Primary sources are generally legal documents. When we talk about primary sources for research, they could also be things like a journal that someone has written or a diary entry, a letter from one person to another. It's either a legal document or something straight from the horse's mouth, you know, something that I wrote that's in my own handwriting that someone can use to say that I said, or again, legal documentation, which is what we have here, the Congressional Budget Office report. Also, let's see what this is. This is a speech from Herbert Hoover. So his speech was a primary source. Secondary sources are things that other people write about the event or situation or issue. So in the case of the Herbert Hoover speech, which was a primary source, if a newspaper wrote an article about response to the speech from the public, that would be a secondary source. So primary sources are the sources that are original, and secondary sources are those that are about the original. Okay. Editorial. So that's a word we don't hear very much anymore, but editorial means opinion piece. So if you're reading something in a newspaper, magazine, or online, and it's listed as an editorial, that means it is an opinion. Some people call it opinion. Oh, okay, it's not loading. Let me click back. Some people call it opinion. Some people call it editorial. So just know that editorial is opinion. And if you hear that someone is editorializing, that means they are giving their opinion. So keep that in mind too. Go back to the databases, A to Z. You can search here and find so many different sources that we have. We really have a lot of information available to us through our library. Again, the main ones that I recommend, ProQuest Central and JSTOR. My favorite one of all time for persuasive speaking is Issues and Controversies. Also, because we do have a great library database, don't forget that you can choose places like Google Scholar. To go to Google Scholar, I'm just going to type in Google Scholar. Boom, here we go. Scholar.google.com apparently. And let's say I want to search nuclear disarmament, like the first one that we looked up. There we go, nuclear disarmament. See what comes up. Tons of articles. I can even narrow them down by time frame. So let's say since 2023. So I just want stuff from this year. And look, I mean, there's still so much information. So, oh wow, post COVID-19 discussions relating to nuclear disarmament. So there's a lot of information here that you can research. I feel like a lot of times when students are given their speech projects and they start researching, they end up going to a bunch of random websites that are, I don't know, like, oh, what is the one? See if I can find it. Oh, BuzzFeed. It's BuzzFeed, BuzzFeed.com. Like, there's more to life than BuzzFeed. I'm going to ask you to dig deeper than BuzzFeed or history.com or some of those other places that we tend to go to. It's great to use those as some quick sources, especially for background information. But when you are seeking to inform someone of an in-depth degree or persuade someone, you really need to do a little more work than just the surface stuff like BuzzFeed and Washington Post and that kind of stuff. So, but look for those details in your assignments when we make those. This week, we're just talking about how to research, and I wanted to introduce you to our library databases. And again, just as easy as going to the portal, logging in, and then gaining access that way. And don't forget that if you're on campus, you automatically log in and you won't be getting the messages that I got when it said, take me to ProQuest. So keep that in mind as well.